Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
A warm welcome to you to the Fusion Mobile e-learning platform. I am Sherry Folaito and I am your civic education tutor. Today, in this lesson, we're going to be considering national consciousness, national integrity, and national unity. We're going to be talking about their meanings and how to protect and promote them. First, national unity. National consciousness. What do we mean by national consciousness? Of course, we should understand that consciousness means awareness and alert. National consciousness is the awareness that one belongs to an ethnic or a political nation. That one is only a unit of socially organized entity sustained by network of interactions and interdependence. Interaction. And interdependence. Awareness. What are we talking about here? The awareness that you belong to an organized system of people or a political nation who interact are interdependent. Who interact and then are interdependent. National consciousness is a feeling of necessary social cohesion which establishes a unique character, image, and identity for a nation. Of course, what are we talking about here? National consciousness. This is the alertness and the awareness of being a member of a particular political nation or ethnic group. Of course, as an Igbo man, that alertness in me, that defensive ability of coming out to state that I am an Igbo man is the consciousness in me, or is geared by the consciousness in me. That ability to come out and say this is where I belong, this is my identity, is a form of national consciousness. And national consciousness demands the following, which I am going to read out to you. The existence of an ethnic or politically created group within a given geographical territory. Ethnic or politically created group within a given geographical territory. Let's break that down. Let's say, for instance, within Abia State. Abia State is the given geographical territory now. Certain people, let's say the Ibeku people, their ability, their coexistence, and their ethnic affiliation is required for national consciousness. Is required for consciousness itself and awareness. World feeling owing to psychogenic and cultural attachment, love for the identified group, and anything that would warrant its continuity. Of course, for any political group, association, or ethnic group to survive, they need self-love. Love for that identified group that would ensure and warrant its continuity, even years after the current set of people who bear their identity must have gone or dead. Making sacrifices to sustain the group's interests, norms, values, and cultural orientations. Obedience to constituted authorities and laws. Defending against external threats and internal divisions and injustices. Giving substantial economic support to strengthen the nation's economy and social base. Supporting the political structure for autonomy, secured life, and general well-being. Initiating and espousing ideas that can foster meaningful transformation, growth, and development. Of course, as part of your consciousness as a citizen of a country, or as a member of an ethnic group, or as an affiliate of a political group, it is required of you that you initiate great ideas and suggest these ideas so as to foster meaningful transformation, growth, and development within your given geographical territory. This means that the interest of the nation comes first before individual preferences. The Germans, the Israelis, the Britons, and the Americans offer good examples of citizens with highly developed national consciousness. For instance, if an American wakes up in the morning, it is believed that what he or she should say first, before citing any other thing, before making any other statement, is God bless America. I can't remember the last time any of us wakes up in the morning and says, God bless Nigeria. This should form a part of our national consciousness. It is accounted for their greatly rated status and international prestige. The citizens of these nations are willing and ready to pay the supreme price to advance the cause of their nations. Without national consciousness, a nation cannot claim to be truly united, coordinated, focused, and progressive. That is why some political philosophers insist that national consciousness is the key in building as a resourceful and virile nation. For you to build a sustainable political, economic, and social environment, national consciousness is a necessity, is a requirement. Now that brings us to national integrity. This means being honest to ourselves and basing our actions, visions, and missions on strong moral principles. It also means a devoid of division, segregation, and oppression. Pursuing national integrity entails being kind-hearted, open-hearted, truthful, and empathic in relating with other people, outside our own clan or ethnic group, or even within. It means finding a base for unity, togetherness, and cooperative efforts at nation building. You see, what are we talking about here? These are very common values that are required of us. That you are truthful to yourselves, to one another, to the next person to you, that you act based on strong moral principles. It is required of you that you do not go to the court of law to swear to a false affidavit. It is required of you to go to the law court and bear witness and never give any false arguments or witness in the court of law. It is required of you to make certain statements which reflect the truth and only the truth. It is required of you to be kind-hearted, to be open-hearted, see a person that needs help, and be able to help them. National integrity goes on to tell you that each time you see a disabled person who needs help, perhaps he or she is on a wheelchair and is struggling to climb a particular place, it is expected of you to help them with the wheelchair as an able-bodied, push them until they get perhaps to their destination or where it will be easier for them to continue with their journey. You see somebody who is visually impaired, or simply put, who cannot see, who is blind, and that person is struggling to make their way perhaps to the library. It is your right within your environment to help this person to seek to find their way to wherever they are going. Now, lack of national integrity has delayed the Nigerian effort to advance, based on the fact that most of our leaders are not honest, especially when it has to do with equitable distribution of public facilities. We tend to experience conflicts, riots, insurrections, social unrest, and many other vices. Due to leadership rascality, military dictatorship, ethnic oligarchy, and intolerance, ethnic militia, and religious fundamentalism, which has emerged to terrorize the Nigerian state. For instance, OPC, the Oodua People's Congress, which is a formation from the southwestern part of Nigeria, emerged to protest the 1993 presidential election won by MKO Abiola, which was annulled by President Ibrahim Babangida. The OPC rose to protect the Yoruba interest until President Olusegun Obasanjo was elected president in 1999. The movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra, MASOB, led by Chief Raf Iwazurike, emerged to protest the ill treatments meted out to Ndi-Igbo by other tribes in Nigeria. Their aim remains to actualize the Biafran state of sovereignty, this time not by war, but through legal and peaceful negotiations. MASOB, movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra. There is a movement for the emancipation of the Niger Delta, known as MEND. Led by Alhaji Asari Dokubo for the neglect of the Niger Delta region. Their contention is that both the expatriates and the federal government collided to underdevelop the region that produces the liquid gold which sustains the national economy. They engage in killings, pipeline vandalism, abductions, kidnapping, and picketing until the federal government declared amnesty in 2009, which led to a relative peace in the area. The latest in the series is the Boko Haram sect in Borno and some other parts of the northeastern states of Nigeria. Boko Haram, of course, is like a household name in this current dispensation. They are terrorists who kill and maim and dispose people, innocent people, who live in the some parts of the northeastern parts of Nigeria. They insist on Islamic tenets, northern oligarchy, and removal of all Western tenets in the political and social structures in Nigeria. They engage in destruction of lives and property, terrorist attacks, burning down of churches and mosques, bombing strategic national and international institutions, and making Nigeria ungovernable. This depicts anarchy and loss of national integrity. That is, all of these things we are talking about, from MEND to OPC to MASOB to Boko Haram, are as a result of lack of national integrity, especially on the part of our leaders. This divisive tendency is counterproductive as it runs against nationalism and national consciousness. We need undiluted national integrity to remain a united, reliable, respected, and dependable nation. And to achieve these things that we have just mentioned, it is demanding of us to deal with ourselves honestly as citizens, no matter our ethnic inclination. We should be trustworthy, we should be truthful, we should be leaders and citizenry with sound moral and upbringing. We should be leader and citizenry with sound moral upbringing and disposition. Unity arising from our obvious cultural and social differences. This unity should be seen as a resource and point of strength instead of point of weakness. Understanding and tolerance for other people's opinions and way of life. Justice, equity, fairness, and political equality of all and sundry. Now, that brings us to national unity. The concept of national unity presupposes that the existence of cultural and social diversities in our nation. It suggests the need to combine our efforts and resources, interweave our diverse cultural heritage, and forge a common front which will sustain our noble effort at building the nation. The key word here is unity. Unity. All we are preaching here is that everybody come together regardless of our affiliations. Regardless of if I am an Igbo man or I'm an Efik man. If I am an Hausa man or I am a Yoruba man. If I belong to the Igbos or I am an Ijo man. If I am a Tapa man or I'm an Ekiti man. It doesn't matter. We should all come together. If I am a Muslim or Christian, it shouldn't matter. If I worship the Amadioha or the Sangos, it doesn't matter. We should all come with just one united front, all in the bid to promote the nation. So national unity is a necessity in sustainable national development. It is a value that we need so much in Nigeria to be able to advance and succeed as a nation. National unity requires integrity and national consciousness with the spirit of patriotism and nationalism. This is why the motto of Nigeria on the coat of arms reads unity and faith. You must have seen the coat of arms on our currency. On the Nigerian currency, underneath is written, boldly inscribed, unity and faith, peace and progress. Unity and faith, peace and progress. National unity fosters peace and progress. National unity has long eluded our country. The amalgamation of Nigeria in 1914 by Sir Frederick Lugard, which brought the northern and southern protectorates together as one Nigeria, was a quest towards uniting the nation, even during colonial days. This lack of unity brought about inequitable development of the three regions of the East, West, and North during colonial and post-colonial independence era in Nigeria. Of course, if we can remember very well, there are some national crises that have occurred in Nigeria, whether before or even after the independence. These national crises, most of them were fueled by lack of national integration or unity. Okay, for instance, the post-independent crisis that culminated in civil war in 1967 to 1970 was caused largely by lack of unity and corruption. Today's Nigeria still remains polarized along ethnic lines, bringing about what we call federal character, the quota system, or non-indigenship policies. This federal character, quota system, and every other thing that goes in line with it is to ensure that certain minority groups are not marginalized, especially in the areas of wealth distribution, in the areas of opportunities and what have you. For instance, in some schools, on their admission list, you will see merit list, you will see second list, third batch, fourth batch, and the next thing you see is the quota system. ELDs, the educationally less developed states. This is to ensure that certain minorities are not left out in national development. The Abia State government in September 2011 had to sack all non-indigenous working in the Abia State public service against appeals to national unity. Many Nigerians are discriminated against when it comes to employment, acquisition of landed property, appointments into political offices, electoral contests, residency, in university admissions, and access to certain amenities as a result of non-indigenship policies. This has kept Nigeria on the fence in trying to achieve laudable millennium goals. Of course, it is currently or recently accused or alleged that the president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, have more Hausa people in his cabinet than other tribes, other major tribes in Nigeria. This does not say well about our national unity. How do we promote national consciousness, national integrity, and national unity? No nation can survive, of course, without these three. This has made it imperative to seek ways in promoting these values. We can promote them by one, upholding the tenets and practice of fundamental human rights as enshrined in both our Constitution and the 1948 United Nations Organization Charter on Universal Declaration of Fundamental Human Rights. Promoting equity, justice, fairness, and equality among the ethnic groups, institutions, and people in Nigeria. We should emphasize the formation of cultural synergy, which gives every ethnic group equal footing. Areas of unity should be emphasized, while de-emphasizing areas of diversity. The Nigerian government should resist obnoxious Western cultural life patterns, which negates our mission as a people. Laws should be enacted to destroy borrowed negative cultures. The bill passed in November 2011 by the Senate prohibiting same-sex marriage is in line with this opinion. Such Western anti-humanist practices, if allowed, could drift our unity apart. Of course, in 2011, it was proposed by the West that Nigeria adopts the same-sex marriage, that is, a man marries a man and a woman marries a woman. The Senate stood against this and said, no, we have to pass a bill against it, which led to certain sanctions and withdrawal of grants and supports by the West. If this kind of laws and practices, which are against our moral values, are inculcated and imbibed within the Nigerian political integrity, it would go on to affect our national unity, our national consciousness, and our national integrity most especially. We must learn to reward and immortalize our national models, whether dead or living. Such nationals like Chief Gani Fawehinmi, Ramzan Kuti, Bishop Martin Kuka, Olise Agbakoba, Pa Michael Imodu, Malam Aminu Kano, Fela Anikulapo, Ojumegu Ojukwu, among many others, should be immortalized to encourage others to seek national unity and justice. The federal government should in truth have national and federal outlook. The unity of the nation would be called to question where political offices and leadership tilt towards certain ethnic groups. That is, no bias. The government should be very careful and not work towards any bias or ethnic sentiments. Appointments should be made based on merit. Not that people should be appointed or employed into public offices or civil service based on their ethnic affiliation. No. Admissions should not be granted based on where you come from, or the language you speak, or the kind of dress code you put on. It should be more of merit. Where major federal establishments are found only in Kaduna, Jos, Abuja, Lagos, and Ibadan, while the federal presence is scanty or not available in some areas, cannot promote the much needed national unity. Of course, we have done justice to national consciousness as a concept, national integrity as a concept, and national unity as a concept. We have treated their meaning, this conceptual clarification, and the ways through which we can promote them. Having done justice to these topics, a question is going to come up on the screen now. I'd like you to take I'd like you to carefully provide answers to the questions. While you do so, however, if you have issues attempting the questions, kindly press the rewind button and take a look at the lesson again.